What's up everybody, it is Lo, Beauty Demon, and I'm back with Internet BS with probably some of the most entertaining drama I've seen on YouTube in a minute. And I say entertaining because there's not a lot of illegal activity happening within this stuff, unless you include, possible slander into the story. We're gonna talk about what's going on between Noodles and Keemstar, because I'm just thoroughly amused by it. But first, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get a notification every time I post. Also, please don't send anybody that we're gonna talk about in this video any hate, negativity, nothing like that. These are just my thoughts, my opinions, based on what I am seeing play out on the internet. And I've had to go to several social media platforms to get some of this information because people keep getting banned on things, and that's really the crux of what we're going to talk about today. So if you've been paying attention, you can tell that Keem and Noodles really don't like each other, but it seems like that has not always been the case. Now, over the past year, Noodles has dropped the whole cat thing, which was like my big criticism. It's just hard to differentiate between the character and the person, and he's just more himself on his channel, and it's really working for him. So over the course of this past year, Noodles did also receive a shout out from the Klein family, from Donna and Ethan Klein, and other people, Trisha Paytas. They all seem to really like Noodles. So when Noodles received that shout out from H3 and company, the other side of the commentary community, mostly just Keemstar and all of his buddies, decided, Noodles was not anybody that they liked. After Noodles dropped his whole cat shtick, he did reveal that Keemstar had actually reached out to him the previous year, hoping to get him to come over to Drama Alert and take over his channel, because let's face it, Keemstar probably wants to get out of the YouTube game but still make money off of it, I mean, you can't have it both ways. You either are on YouTube or you're not, but I guess he wants to be like the owner of the channel and have Noodles be his employee. Well, when Noodles got his shout out, Keem didn't like that, and he kind of X'd him out, and Noodles became enemy number 2, because of course Ethan is still enemy number 1 to Keem. Then back in July, the official Noodles Twitter actually got banned. He never got a reason why. He had a few speculations. Of course, there was a lot of the James Charles stuff. This was right after James Charles had returned to the internet, even though he never really officially left the internet. Some people speculated it was because of that, because in James Charles' video, he slightly alluded to Noodles' thread of all the allegations about James Charles. Now, Noodles has also said that he thought maybe it could have been because of a story he made about Addison Rae, which I think the story he's referring to is when Addison Rae introduced herself to Donald Trump at a UFC event, which that whole thing was weird, and I also thought it was very odd that a former president of the United States had 2 security guards around him and was just sitting in a folding chair instead of in a private box somewhere. I feel like he just doesn't have the security that he's supposed to have because nobody wants to protect him anymore. Anyway, that's beside the point. But then there was a third theory that Keemstar had something to do with this. Some people speculated that the Noodles account was taken down due to German laws about information on the internet because they're trying to stop the spread of misinformation. So in the meantime, Noodles actually moved over to Instagram, and he actually posted on his stories that he was offering a $5,000 reward for anybody that had information that could help him successfully know why his Twitter account got banned and to get it back. No one ever came forward with that, and in the meantime, Noodles actually did make another Twitter account. Now, Twitter does have a ban evasion policy, but they never actually banned Noodles' personal page, which is Go With Dennis. So he still had his personal Twitter account. So he wasn't officially banned. It was just they shut down his YouTube channel, Twitter. So he made another one, which I don't remember was this, whatever. And kind of went back to business as usual. He did change his approach in how he posted stories on Twitter, and I felt like they were a little more just focused on the facts, and it took a lot of the satire out, which I think was one of the other main criticisms, is people had a hard time differentiating between what was jokes and what was a serious story. Now that he is just himself on his channel, he is a little more relentless with Keemstar, and he's really gonna go off when you see a picture of Keem in his thumbnail and you see his video is over 12 minutes long. You're gonna have have at least a 10-minute rant in there. I'll just include some of my favorite parts of his rants here.
Anyway, folks, moving on to everybody's least favorite toilet drinker, Keemstar slandered me again because it's a Thursday. You know, maybe to Keemstar's benefit to never leave his basement anymore. Could help all the 12-year-olds go back to believing that he's actually a cool person to be around. Yes, folks, dumbfuck Keemstar, the inbred wannabe Sean Hannity that never fails to surprise. Let's take a look at a few details embedded in that tweet. First off, I'd like to point out that this tweet was sent out at 12:40 a.m. West Coast time, and I don't know if most of you know this, folks, but Keemstar lives in the East Coast of the United States, which means that there's a 3-hour difference between where I live and Keemstar lives. He's, in fact, 3 hours ahead of me, which means that Keemstar is thinking about me at 3:40 in the fucking morning. This guy's almost in his 40s. Oh, by the way, here's a very special message to that very special someone who this section of the video is dedicated to. Hey, how you doing, you inbred dumb fuck? Happy to see you in these parts again. Happy to see that you're still my #1 fan, and happy to see that you're still stealing my stories for your bullshit fucking show. I know it must be hard to see all your fucking brands die, but guess what? Nobody gives a flying fuck. Go have an awful fucking day. So get the fuck over yourself. You're not fucking special.
So one of the biggest criticisms that Keem has had for Def Noodles is that he had false allegations and did not correct them, which Def Noodles has said he has corrected these on both his Twitter and his YouTube. So on both of his major platforms, he has corrected these. When you go to the Drama Alert channel, there's nothing about this. Keem doesn't say anything about this on his channel. He doesn't make videos about this on his YouTube channel whatsoever. He will tweet at Def Noodles or tweet about him anyway, won't really tweet at him. He only focuses his drama stuff on his Twitter. In a video that Def Noodles posted the other day, he was highlighting the fact that Ethan had said Keem's channel is dying. Keem has 2.5 million followers and gets a fraction of the views. Now, I would love to get the views that Keemstar has, but I also don't have the subscriber count that he has. Now, Def Noodles even took it a step further and started to analyze his Twitter, and he has about the same amount of followers on his Twitter and gets even less engagement on his Twitter than he does on his YouTube. Def Noodles actually went as far as to say not only is Keem's YouTube channel dying, but so is his Twitter. You know, looking at the numbers and everything, I have to say I agree. And here's why I think that really is because Keem is trying to create two separate brands. Now, you have the real Keemstar, the asshole Keemstar, the one that everybody hates. I was gonna say love to hate, but I don't. I just really don't like that guy. Hate is kind of a strong word, though. You have this person over here, and then on his YouTube channel on Drama Alert, he talks about things that he is so out of touch with that nobody cares. TikTok teenagers and Charlie D'Amelio and the Nelk Boys and all of these younger influencers, nobody takes him seriously or cares about what he's saying. I think if he actually just revamped his channel and merged it together to be actually his real commentary, his channel would start to grow again. I don't know. I feel like Keem is one of those you can't teach an old dog new tricks sort of things, so I don't really know if we're gonna see any kind of change from him in that sense. So while Keem will not go on his own channel and say things about the people he has problems with like Ethan or Def Noodles, he has no problem with going into other people's live streams and talking about it both in the chat and if he is able to call into the show, which quite a few people will let Keem call into their show as he is a bigger creator, and a lot of smaller commentary channels do still kind of respect him because Keem has helped them out in some way, shape, or form. He'll go on, talk his shit, and then go about his merry little way. So he has no problem with going on other people's channels to talk his shit, but he is afraid to do it on his own channel. And to be honest, I think Xylee from the channel Xylee Gets Real sums it up the best.
He can't do it by himself. He's starting to look like a punk because he has to do it on somebody else's live stream.
I mean, completely. He's so, like, he can't stand the heat. Keem cannot stand the heat being focused on his own channel. He thinks it's going to have a negative effect when really it's actually just going to have a positive effect. If he uploaded a 15-minute video just going off about God knows what, you know everybody would watch that. I don't even watch Keem, but I would watch that to see what the hell he's going to say about everybody. So I feel like he needs to learn how to evolve, and he feels very threatened by Def Noodles because here Def Noodles is his main competition. He is seeing a very large amount of growth, and he's more relatable. And Keem is just so out of touch, and it's not even necessarily because of his age, but it kind of is because Keem is just really coming across as a older man who is just really out of touch and he's grasping at straws to just be seen as relevant again. So he has to talk about TikTokers because that's what kids want to listen to. They want to listen to a man who's almost 40 talk about teenagers. Dude, no. The people who are interested in TikTok commentary on YouTube are watching people like Anna Oop and whatnot. They're not watching Keemstar. Keem is just threatened because Def Noodles has no problem with sharing the information that he is getting to the public as he gets it. And I think that's another reason why Keem really doesn't like him. I don't know. I just feel like Def Noodles doesn't think of it as like that kind of crazy competitiveness. It's just like this is, yeah, it's his job, but also like he's not threatened by other people covering the same topics. But Keem wants to have some sort of monopoly because that is actually how Keem started out on the platform. There were not a lot of other channels that did similar things to what he does. And then this brings us to what happened the other day. Def Noodles in his video talked about how Keem's Twitter and YouTube channel are both dying, and then I'm sorry I laughed, but within the span of like 24 hours, like I don't even think it was 24 hours, Def Noodles' Twitter got deleted again, and it was not just the Twitter for his channel this time, it was also his personal Twitter as well. So he is completely banned from Twitter. He has moved back to Instagram, which you pretty much get the same bit of information that you would there. And when this final ban happened yesterday, Keem was tweeting about it within 10 minutes. And Def Noodle says this is before he even knew that his Twitter was banned. So I jumped over to Def Noodle's Instagram because I knew that's where he would be posting right away. And the stories that he was posting were pretty interesting. This is from Def Noodle's Instagram stories. He said, "My Twitter got suspended again." So both of my Twitter accounts were suspended overnight, the new Def Noodles account as well as my personal account. While I am still waiting for an email explaining the reason for this suspension, at the moment, I believe it may be related to my original suspension as I did not recently violate any guidelines. It should be noted I was never given a reason for my original suspension. In my opinion, there is only one person responsible for this most recent suspension. He is known as the baldest head in the East, the most famous toilet drinker in the world, the inbred Sean Hannity known as Keemstar, aka Keemstar. Keemstar has a long-running history of using his social media contacts to deplatform his competitors and rivals. He recently publicly demanded that the YouTube CEO ban the H3 podcast because of a joke. The demand resulted in a 1-week ban for H3. It is no coincidence that my Twitter accounts got suspended mere hours after I made a video responding to slanderous claims Keemstar has made about me on a recent live stream. In my response, I lampooned Keemstar's obsession with me and pointed out that his social media accounts are all dying. His Twitter and YouTube are basically dead. It should be noted that Keemstar tweeted about my suspension long before I myself noticed. In his tweet, Keemstar celebrated my suspension, saying it made him happy. Keemstar retweeted this tweet, which he originally posted on the day of my original suspension, around 10 p.m. Pacific time, mere minutes after my accounts were suspended. Keemstar railed against me on Twitter and livestream for nearly 3 months and made numerous false allegations against me before I ever responded. It is my opinion, after I started responding, Keemstar started working behind the scenes to have my account suspended because he can dish it out, but when met with similar energy, he can't take it. By the way, did I mention he likes to eat out of a toilet? As a result of these recent developments, I am once again offering $5,000 to the person who can 1. Get me more information about my original suspension, 2. Help me successfully restore my Twitter accounts with the asterisk keyword successfully, and this is not a joke, this offer is 100% real. And then he just posted this picture of Keemstar that said Baldy. Keemstar continues to slander me. I never said he took my Twitter down the first time. Also, I never put out 3 false allegation. And the screenshot that he includes there from Twitter is actually a YouTube channel, Bolin. She says Keemstar Noodles is talking bare shit about you on IG, says you got his Twitter suspended. Did you? And Keem retweeted that and said, he said I got his Twitter taken down the first time too. Def Noodles also put out 3 false allegations in 1 single week. Speaking of false allegations, Keemstar has a reputation for making false allegations against nearly hundreds of creators and never correcting them. In fact, he made one against me, which he never corrected or deleted. I covered over 10 allegations against James Charles. I had to do 2 retractions. The first retraction was for covering someone who made a joke allegation. The second retraction was for covering someone who lied. I addressed the retractions on Twitter as well as in a couple of YouTube videos, including the one linked below. Also, does anyone else find it unusual that like Keemstar waited until I was banned on Twitter to respond to my responses to all of his slanderous and false allegations against me. Seems like a bitch move to me, and he literally just circles his head. And this is shady as fuck because not only is he like just tweeting all this shit about Keemstar, like whatever, he could, but the pictures he's using, oh my god, the fucking pictures. Like, first of all, this picture of Keem with a button up and no hat on, I'm like, where did this picture even come from? And then this picture right here that is above his screenshot of Def Noodles' Twitter ban, that actually is literally him saying the N-word. He is saying the N-word in that picture right there. And then today, Def Noodles did post a video where he discussed that he was banned from Twitter, and he did talk about all this. Then once again, of course, he went off on Keemstar and elaborated on a lot of things that he put in his IG story. And he ended it with saying this.
By the way, I know you're watching this, you fucking Karen Star. How about you come on my show and we can talk this out? Otherwise, next time you come to Los Angeles, I would love to have a very nice one-to-one conversation with you. It would be so friendly, so nice.
So is the next YouTuber boxing match gonna be Def Noodles versus Keemstar? Because I will pay for that match. I will do a live reaction, and I'm also gonna be putting money on Def Noodles for winning that because I'm pretty sure he's taller than Keemstar, so he just automatically has a longer reach. So that is it for today's video. I just find this all very amusing because let's be honest, can Keemstar get any more cringe? I'm only a couple years younger than him, and it is just, I don't know, watching him is just kind of pathetic at times. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you have not, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Laters. Bye.